So you're saying you think you'll be better looking at 54 versus now at 34, excuse me.
I think that will depend on what resources are available to me.
Such as?
All kinds of different cosmetic and athletic
skincare.
Athletic.
Okay. Like different workouts, dietary. We know so much more about nutrition now than we did 20 years ago.
Another diet thing. Okay. So,
I think nutrition.
And you're talking plastic surgery too?
Some, yeah.
Okay, so like
I would
maybe
be open to
lipo or Botox or other implants.
I think it would depend on what I'm insecure about at that point.
Let's go 30 years forward. Better looking at 64 versus now at 34?
Again, I think it depends on what I'm willing to do at that point. Better looking. I think my audience changes, right? So who's the judge? Is it just me or is it generally, right?
Okay.
Actually, I'm kind of confused by that. Right? Why would your audience change? It's like the same amount of 20-year-olds as 50-year-olds are going to see you now as they do in 10 years, right?
Well, no. Like I would consider like my judgment now is based on what my peers would consider, and so at 54, I'm also still going to be taking into consideration the opinion of my peers, which would be other people of the similar age. So
why wouldn't you take into account people who were 10 years younger than you?
I mean, I don't necessarily
like at what point are they not
judgments.
your peers anyway? Like once you hit 20 or 25, are you just not a peer with somebody anymore because they're 35 or 40?
No, I think there's a limit to that. I think life experience can also change whether or not I consider someone a peer.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't know that your audience would change much, right? It seems like it'd be basically the same people or the same demographics who would look for the attractiveness measure.
Maybe a better way to put it is like how we judge attractiveness changes by age. So I personally feel I'm more attractive now. A lot of that has to do with the level of self-confidence that I have. And so I don't think that I had that level of confidence at 24. And I think that as you age, especially as a woman, you gain certain perspectives that only add to your allure as a woman.
Can I ask you a question then?
Of course.
Let's say that a guy had the option between two 24-year-old women. And one was a drop-dead knockout. She was gorgeous, but she was really shy and bashful and didn't have much confidence. And the other one was really not very good looking at all, but she was a boss babe. Who do you think you would prefer?
Me personally? You said she's not attractive at all? Like
No,
what?
not you personally. What do you think the guy would prefer?
I mean, I think it would depend on the guy, right? Like what are his goals
Just
for
your
this
average,
one?
most of your average guys, right? Just on average, what do you think? Which one do you think you would prefer?
I mean, I think he's going to go with the prettier one.
Yeah, exactly. So the thing is like, if that's the case, and I would agree with you, right? I think that that's a reasonable assessment to make. Then what the hell does confidence have to do with anything? Like,
Wait.
if we're asking for a physical metric of beauty, and that's what we're after, so often I hear women say, well, but I'm a lot more confident now than I used to be when I was prettier. But I don't actually understand that answer because it really doesn't have anything to do with the metric of the question of physical beauty, does it?
I think that the confidence piece comes from being comfortable in the position that we don't get dressed up for the boys, we get dressed up for ourselves and for the girls. And
yeah, I understand the confidence portion. I get the confidence part. I understand. What I'm saying though is that if we're asking for just a purely beauty standard, just a physical be like confidence, somebody would have to talk to you. They'd have to know you. So that would have to come into play. There'd have to be an interpersonal dynamic. But what about just somebody looking at you?
I feel like I can determine whether a person is confident or not by looking at them.
What?
Not
How do you determine
always.
that?
I don't think
Not always, but if you are observing a person looking for whether or not they are confident, you can tell by their body language.
No. Yeah, I mean, you get 3 seconds. You're walking down the street, right? The guy's walking past you. He's got 2 seconds. He just takes a look, right? Oh, she's good looking, or she's not. They're not like they don't got
If he makes eye contact,
huge goggles, and they're looking through their magnifying glass at you and observing you for multiple minutes, right? They're just like walking past you. They're not going to know what your confidence level is there.
I think it's pretty easy to determine. If they make eye contact, they're confident. If they're not looking at you and they kind of avert immediately, then they're kind of shy. That's a pretty easy indicator for me.
There can be women who walk with a certain gait, let's say. They walk with like a certain way that they do it. where you could think they're very confident, and then you talk to them, and they're totally not. They're like, you know, and they're kind of sheepish and this type of thing. I don't even know if we could judge confidence just at a look. But even if you could, even if I were to grant that there's some cases where you can judge if somebody's confident or not confident, in some cases, just if we're looking at it on average, I think that most people can determine physical beauty in another person at a glance. Like, it doesn't take much. Just look over, that's all you need, right, to know if you think they're attractive or not attractive. So if you're just going off that purely physical metric, when we ask, you know, between 1 and 10, that's really what we're looking for. It's like, in 10 years, at a glance, is the average guy, when he looks over, going to think that you're better looking at this point in your life or at that one?
I understand.
We're gonna get the rest of the answers from everybody. You are 27, better looking in. Or wait, hold on. Did I get all the? No, I don't think I finished here. Hold on. You said better looking at 64. 30 years
Then
time?
34?
Yeah.
Depending on what procedures I might have, yeah.
Okay. And what about 40 years time at
Probably cap at
74?
that point.
Okay. And when would
I think
when's the peak?
Peak will be between 34 and 44.
34 and 44. Okay, so you have not hit your peak yet.
Correct.
Okay. And then going back 10 years time, were you better looking at 24 than you are now at 34?
No.
And then were you better looking at 18 than you are now at 34?
No.
Okay. Going to you're 27, better looking in 10 years time at 37?
No.
Okay, and then you're 27, were you better looking at 18 than you are now at 27?
No.
Okay, do you think you're currently at your physical peak?
I would say maybe like 24.
So 3 years ago. Okay. And then you're 27, better looking in 10 years time at 37?
No, I believe that I've already hit my peak probably around 4 or 5 years ago.
So 22, 23?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think anybody reaches their peak after the age of 30, in my opinion.
Okay. Fair.
How old are you again?
27.
You'll think differently later.
I mean,
I think
what do you
I've
mean? What do
already
you mean
hit my
she'll
peak.
think differently?
I think-
like as in terms of she'll cope?
No, I just think as you get older, especially as a woman, and you look back and reflect on your looks later, that drastically changes. That's why I can say now that, like, I peaked at 28 because I can look back and say, like, that, like, I made a lot of changes in my appearance as far as, like, even just little things, as things I would do with my hair or my makeup that make me look a lot better that I learned over years. When you're really young, you're kind of just doing whatever, trying to figure it out, different hair color, different haircut, like, so I just
Yeah, I think that's reasonable to say if you're talking about a 4-year stretch, like 24 to 28. Okay,
Correct,
yeah, that's
yeah.
fine. But I think it becomes cope when you're 32, 33, and you're like, no, when I was 24, I was way better looking now. What we're asking for is, like, you're just seeing a picture of a person, right? That's it. You're looking at their 24-year-old picture, and you're looking at their 34-year-old picture. What do you think the average person would find more attractive? The 34-year-old version of you or the 24-year-old version of you?
the average person.
Yeah.
I think 34-year-old me.
Okay.
Erroneous! Erroneous!
Wait, but so how about this?
I wouldn't say that, sorry. I
Oh, go
wouldn't
ahead.
say that now about me at 28 or 29. I think I was far better looking at 28 and 29 than I am now. And I also think I was far better looking at 28 and 29 than I was at 18 or 19. So that's why I'm saying, like, and I like peak for me varies on the woman. Everybody's peak is different for your physical appearance, in my opinion.
Well, what
But
if we adjusted for this? Let me ask you this question. Have you had any sort of cosmetic enhancements?
absolutely.
Since? Yeah. So let's pretend that you're 19 years old and had the same cosmetic enhancements you have right now. And now we're looking at the same picture of you at 34 versus 1920. Same cosmetic enhancements. Which one's prettier?
Definitely when I was younger, 24.
Yeah. So then the basic idea here is that you're using cosmetic enhancements in order to enhance a youthful standard for beauty. That's what's going on. And if you had those same cosmetic enhancements when you were younger, you'd be prettier younger, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So then I think that's why people get so confused by the answer of women when they often will say, no, I'll be a lot prettier in 10 years because they're banking on cosmetic enhancements in order to kind of keep their youthful look. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I still think I don't necessarily think that all of the cosmetic enhancements that I have now would look good on me that young. No. So I still think that could be different. Like,
well, which ones? Which ones would have looked worse? You fundamentally have the same bone structure, same height, same everything, right?
Yeah, I mean, I guess cosmetic surgery, like, I don't necessarily think all the work I had done on my body would have been appropriate at 18. I don't think it would have looked better. I think it would have looked ridiculous. But I grew up and then was able to, like, determine what I felt like would be best looks-wise as I got older.
Why would it have looked worse?
I don't
at
think,
20?
even if I had all the things I had done right now, I'm taking back what I said. I don't think I would have been more attractive at 18 with all of the cosmetic procedures I've had now. I don't.
No, so let's say it's 20 years old, same exact cosmetic procedures. What about your 20-year-old self would look worse?
I guess it's more of an appropriateness to me. Like,
No, not appropriate, not context, none of that. Just two pictures. 20-year-old you at the age you are right now, or 34, same cosmetic enhancements. Why does 20-year-old you look worse?
I just don't, I don't know. I guess it's hard for me to see my 18-year-old self, how I look now with the cosmetic enhancements. So I guess it's just hard. Like, I don't know how to articulate what I'm trying to explain, but I don't necessarily think if I did all the things I do now that I would look better when I was 18 at all. I did all the things I do now, only in the last few years. So that wasn't until I was in my late 20s that I started making a lot of cosmetic changes. But I just, that's me personally. Like, I don't think that me with this size boobs and this size lips and all the things that I do now would have looked good on me at 18.
Yeah, but why not though?
I just think it would look ridiculous.
I think it's also because you grow into your adult features. Like, same, like me at 18, I wouldn't do all of that, but me at 20, 24, I would do those because I look more mature.
Because you're trying to capture a youthful appearance, right?
Big boobs don't make you, like, more youthful.
Yeah, well, I mean, do you associate shaggy breasts with old people or young people?
Both.
No, you don't associate them with both. You associate
Absolutely.
perky breasts
I've
with
seen
young
lots
women.
of young girls with saggy boobs.
We associate perky breasts with younger women.
Yeah, generally.
Everybody does. Everybody associates that. And here, I can demonstrate it for you. Most women, when they go out in public, they wear push-up bras. Why? How come?
I guess to appear like they have pushed up boobs. More cleavage.
And why do they want them to look like that? Why do they want them to look like that? Why do they not want
that doesn't
not
they
look saggy?
they don't want bigger boobs to make them look more youthful,
No,
though. They want bigger
It's
boobs
not
to
bigger.
look more
the push-up
voluptuous.
bra doesn't necessarily make them appear bigger. It makes them appear perkier, higher, right? And so we associate that with youth. If that's not the case, then why do you wear push-up bras for?
I don't wear push-up bras.
No, I know, but women, when I'm talking about women, not you, as in you specifically, but just women in general, they wear them nonstop all the time. Why do you think that they use push-up bras?
I think because
especially when they're going to show cleavage. What's the purpose?
I think we want.
Yeah, Sina.
What are you coming at me for?
No, it's just like, I don't know. I was just asking what you thought because you've been kind of quiet. So. No,
It's to like show that you have bigger breasts, not in general to show that it's perkier.
It's to make them look bigger. That's
Yeah.
what I
Yeah.
think. It's to meet the beauty standards set by
It's
men.
not to make them. It's not to make them look perky, huh?
No.
Oh, okay.
So a couple you mentioned diet and eating, and that's gonna make change stuff. And certainly if you're a healthier weight, that can definitely have an impact. Two questions on this. The
By
first
the way, if
question.
it was all about making them look just bigger, why wouldn't you make them look bigger and saggier?
What? There's padding
Yeah.
in the bra that like pushes it up and also fills
There's
it
also
in
bras
more.
which will push them down.
No.
Yeah, there are.
What?
Yeah.
There are
How
like
come women? How come
I don't
women
know what
opt for
exactly
those?
you're referring to as far as a bra that pushes them down. Like the only thing I can think of that pushes down is you wear a strap over to hold them down, or you.
There are
Like,
bras
that's
which are
not-
designed
but
to push,
generally
to push
most-
down. I don't know. I'm not a cosmetic expert, okay? But my understanding is that these bras do exist, but that does not seem to be what women opt for. They seem to opt for they don't. In other words, I don't see cosmetic enhancements on women where they're trying to make their boobs look saggy, ever.
Well, you're saying they're pushing
That's
them
really-
down.
that's
So
really
then, what
weird.
are they doing?
How come if it's just about size, they don't want them lifted?
The
they
bigger
want
your
them
boobs
perky?
are, like then you have more cleavage in whatever bra you wear. Like it's to make them seem rounder and bigger. That's why women wear push-up bras. You don't wear push-up bras, and you just heard from several of us that it is to make them appear bigger and rounder. Yes, perkier in like that's part of it, but it is to make it look bigger and rounder
what I'm saying
and
is
fuller.
that all the cosmetic enhancements seem to be on par with a youthful appearance, not an older appearance. Not designed for a mature look on women, but designed for a youthful look on women.
I don't know. Is a BBL necessarily youthful?
I
to
don't
meet
even
the beauty
understand that
standards.
phenomenon. That's some
Okay,
bizarre,
but that's the phenomenon. It's a beauty standard.
That's some weird, bizarre phenomenon that people get into. There's all sorts of fads that happen like this inside of society that I don't actually understand. BBLs don't look good on anybody. They've never looked good on a single human being who's ever had one, and they're never going to. But that aside, when you're talking about things like boob jobs and this type of thing, it seems like they definitely want them to be perkier, not less perky. It seems like getting the appearance of sagginess out of the picture seems to be priority number one.